I've been a therapist for nearly a decade, helping countless couples, parents, and families navigate their most challenging relationship moments. For some couples, communication has broken down. Others find that intimacy is now a distant memory. And many of the people that I see are caught in a cycle of arguing where any spark of joy has been replaced by constant conflict. Now, every couple is unique, but I've noticed that many of the couples I see are stuck in various different relationship patterns. These are patterns that with some insight and a little bit of effort can completely shift their perspective and help bring their relationship back to life. I've been compiling some of the more common relationship patterns that I encounter, and I've distilled them into a series of relationship life lessons or the best advice for new couples or really any relationship. So if you are curious about what those patterns are and how you can sidestep these fairly common pitfalls, hit subscribe and I will keep them coming because I think I've got more than one video to share with you of these tips, and one of these nuggets of wisdoms just might be the piece of advice that takes your relationship from surviving to thriving. If we've not met before, my name is Oliver and I'm a marriage and family therapist in Los Angeles, and I love helping people grow great relationships. If you enjoy any of the tips in this video, you might want to download the 7-day relationship rescue workbook I created. The link is going to be below. It's totally free. It's filled with exercises and activities. It's nearly 50 pages long, and it's really quite good. Do you ever wish you could just tweak a few things about your partner? A bad habit here, a nudge towards a different way of dressing, and with a few of those tweaks, everything would just be perfect. And here's the hard truth. Trying to change your partner is like trying to build a Lego castle without instructions. It's exhausting, frustrating, and it will never turn out like the picture on the box. Relationship experts agree with me that the only person that you really can control is yourself. So remember your zones of control. Maybe you learned about this ages ago, but instead of focusing on what your partner should be doing differently, which is not in your zone of control, you could focus instead on your zone of influence by adjusting your attitudes and reactions, or by creating a safe, supportive relationship that values feedback and honesty. Now, the only thing that's totally in your zone of control is how you interact with your partner. So focus on improving your communication using your I statements. You can express gratitude more regularly and create rituals of connection and togetherness, which all build a terrific foundation to a relationship. Real change in your partner has to come from within them because they want to change, not because of the pressure you're exerting on them. The bottom line here is acceptance is key. Love your partner for who they are and focus on being the best version of yourself in the relationship, because that's where change begins. One of the chapters I've created in the 7-day relationship rescue workbook is all about I statements. So if you don't know what they are, check that PDF out. I also have somewhere else on my channel a video on I statements. It's literally the most fun way of learning I statements ever. Relationship life lesson number 2, play catch, not ping pong. This is probably the first and most important thing I have to explain to new couples in my private practice after I've gotten to know them a little bit or I've seen the way that they talk to each other. Most couples that come to see me conversate like a game of table tennis. One person talking has the ball and the other is partially listening, but really they're using most of their brain cells trying to anticipate where it's going to land, how they're going to respond, and how they're going to win the game. In general conversations, they're coming up with the witty response or the anecdotal story about whatever the topic is. That's what we call listening to respond, and it's a surefire way of not really listening. In romantic relationships, the person speaking usually always has the sense that they're not being fully heard. So the conversation becomes more tense, there's a greater chance of miscommunication, and ultimately, over time, there's an increasing amount of disconnection in the relationship because you're not really listening to each other. So one of the biggest free relationship life lessons I can give you right now is to explain how to listen to learn versus listening to respond. Listening to learn is more like you're playing catch, where your goal is simply just to receive, not to react and hit the ball back. When you listen actively like this, you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. Instead, you're genuinely catching what your partner is saying, understanding it, thinking about it, digesting it, before maybe responding thoughtfully. When you approach conversations like a game of catch, you're focused instead on making sure that you're receiving what your partner is sending to you before you respond. In fact, you're going to be so focused on catching the ball, you're aligning yourself with the words being spoken. You're not really thinking about the reply. You're just trying to understand the message that's coming towards you. This approach can be a game changer in a relationship and really help couples feel closer, more understood, and more heard. So the next time you're in a conversation with your partner, ask yourself, am I playing catch or am I playing ping pong? And the bottom line here is be the partner who plays catch. It's not about winning or responding or hitting back. It's about a more connected relationship. And there's a whole section on active listening in the 7-day relationship workbook PDF. If you want to know more, there's probably a whole bunch of YouTube videos too. Relationship life lesson number 3 is love the person, not the plan. If you're in love with who your partner could be rather than who they actually are, there might be some problems. Staying in a relationship based on what you imagine your partner might become is a recipe for frustration and disappointment. It's like having the blueprint of your ideal partner pinned to your wall and being in love with the poster instead of the actual person standing in front of you. Now, sure, people can grow and change and maybe they will evolve into what you're hoping for, but banking on someone becoming your ideal version of themselves is setting yourself for unrealistic expectations and a lot of relationship dissatisfaction. On top of that, your partner is going to feel that something is missing in the relationship. And that thing that is missing is your love for who they are right now. They'll eventually sense that they can't meet your expectations because those only really exist in the blueprint in your mind. So the reality is you need to assess whether you're compatible with who you're dating right now in the present, not who you hope they will turn into someday. And perhaps if you're constantly wishing that they would change or be someone else or hoping that one day they'll be different, it's a sign that the relationship might not meet your standards or your needs as it is. Healthy relationships are based on mutual acceptance and appreciation for each other as you truly are, not on some imagined version of who you might become. So the bottom line is love your partner for who they are, not who they might become. And the present moment is where real relationships thrive. Don't live too far in the future. It's not real. So let me know in the comments below if you're finding these useful. I'm pretty sure I've got a whole bunch more of these tips. If there's enough interest, I'll whip them up into another video for you. Relationship life lesson number 4 is about managing your own emotions. There's this common misbelief, and I blame Disney a little bit, that people should always feel good when they're in relationships. And when they don't feel good, they think that something external needs fixing in order to restore that sense of comfort. But if the problem is outside of us and not within, you might be able to see how that leads to wanting to fix or change your partner. So if we're feeling angry because our partner is late, then the logical conclusion is that we would feel much better if they were just never late again. If that were the case, I can try all of the tactics I have to make sure they're not late again. I can beg, plead, threaten, bribe, coerce, micromanage. I've got a few tricks. And I can, of course, absolutely tell them how it makes me feel when they're late using my I statements. And that probably has the most effective chance of making a difference. But what if your partner is just fundamentally different and doesn't have the same need to be on time as you do? This is where managing your own emotion comes in. Sometimes we need to take a step back and ask ourselves, what is really going on here? Why does this bother me so much? Is it really about being late, or is it tapping into something deeper? Like a fear of being unimportant or a fear of being unheard by someone that cares about you. Self-reflection is the first step towards managing your own emotions, and it can go a long way in preventing arguments before they even start, and also helps you feel closer to your partner in the long run. If you find yourself getting increasingly more upset as the minutes tick by, letting yourself spiral into anger only does a disservice to both you and your relationship. So instead, consider what's really going on at the core of those feelings. Is there a way that you can reframe the situation or adjust your expectations or understand what is going on with your feelings right now? So managing your emotions doesn't mean ignoring them. It means understanding them, owning them, recognizing where they come from, and finding healthier ways to express them to your partner that don't involve a blow-up, accusations, or blame. The bottom line is focus on managing your own emotions instead of expecting your partner to fix them, manage them, or change their behaviors so you don't have them. There's a bonus tip here that overlaps a little bit, because in relationships, feelings can sometimes get tangled as couples grow closer to each other. Part of what I have to do in therapy is help couples untangle those emotions, separating out whose feelings are what, who's responsible for what feelings and who's regulating what, and it's all a big mess that we have to separate out. But taking full responsibility for your partner's emotions can lead to codependency and really unhealthy dynamics. So respecting your partner's feelings, listening to their feelings, having some empathy and offering support are wonderful, but trying to fix their emotions is a no-go from this therapist. An extreme example of this is the enabler in a relationship with an alcoholic who will make up excuses for their partner's behavior or tidy up messes when they get home so their partner doesn't see the mess they created. By doing so, the enabler prevents their partner from facing the natural consequences of their actions, which could be embarrassment or some shame. That would be an example of managing someone else's feelings by not letting them have them in the first place. And of course, it goes the other way. So expecting your partner to manage your emotions is also a no-go. If you're feeling sad or lonely, it can't be your partner's job to fix those. You've got to have other people that can help with that. Learning to look after, recognize, and identify our own feelings, maybe with the help of a partner, but not with the expectation that they should or will. Number 5 is avoiding the blame game. The blame game is not the fun, friendly couples activity that you want to be playing on Friday night, or any night, actually. And also, let's be honest, we've all played it once or twice. Here's how it goes. You forgot to take the trash out. Well, you forgot to buy the milk. Oh, I'm the forgetful one, am I? You didn't even remember my birthday last year. Birthdays? You want to talk about birthdays, really, after the disaster of a birthday that you planned for me? Mature and healthy relationships involve and require each partner to be responsible and accountable, which does not happen in the blame game. So if I forget to take the trash out, I should be able to own it. You're right, I'm sorry, I did forget. I won't let it happen again because I'll set a reminder next week. But it is kind of painful to do that because nobody likes being accused of doing something wrong and admitting their faults. Our natural instinct is actually to retaliate and push back. If you're in a pattern of conflict with your partner, try agreeing with them. It's totally disarming if you can override that instinct to retaliate and say, you know what, you're right, I did forget. I can totally see why you're annoyed. This is where real emotional maturity comes in, owning your actions, even when it's uncomfortable, but it does build trust and respect and can completely shift a relationship dynamic. When your partner's upset with you, all they really want is for you to understand why. The opposite of the blame game is about owning your faults, your mistakes in your relationship and being accountable. So if it's your partner that forgot to take the trash out and you're mad, you have to remember to use your I statements, which has a chance of lowering their defensiveness. So rather than saying, I cannot believe you forgot to take the trash out again, what is wrong with you? You might say, darling, I'm feeling very frustrated with you right now because I asked you to take the trash out and now the kitchen smells horribly. I need you to please set a reminder next week and not forget. If you can change the dynamic of blame into accountability and responsibility, it will shift your relationship. The bottom line here is that no one wins the blame game, but when each of you own your own part, your relationship will level up. Relationship life lesson number 6 is about embracing vulnerability for deeper connections. I think of emotional intimacy like a layered cake. At the surface, it's just icing, small talk. How's the weather? What you watching on Netflix? It's fine, but it's just surface stuff. As you dig deeper, that's where you find the real richness of emotional intimacy and connection. And I get it, vulnerability gets a bad rap because it's often seen as being a weakness, but I actually think vulnerability, it's an absolute necessity and a real strength when it comes to romantic relationships. I have seen too many couples in my private practice who have just stopped talking about their feelings, sharing their fears, their hopes and their dreams for the future. And my job in those situations is just to get a fork out and have them dig deeper into that emotional intimacy to get to those deeper, richer, yummier layers. When they start talking about their feelings and not the weather, it often creates space for these deeper, more authentic connections which have been missing for a long time. And if you're with someone you love, why wouldn't you want to share those most delicious, deep hidden layers of your feelings with them? The bad news, though, is that it's not just the yummy, warm, rainbow-colored feelings that we have to share with our partner. That's somewhat easier. True emotional intimacy means being able to share when you're angry or hurt by your partner. And that is trickier for a lot of us. For a couple of reasons, right? Anger has this reputation as being something we should avoid because it's destructive. And that is not entirely true. I think there is a very clear distinction that we need to make between actions and behaviors that stem from us being angry and anger as a feeling. Either way, no one really likes it when someone's mad at them, so we sometimes protect the ones that we're closest to from those feelings by not expressing them. But you're missing a chance to work through something, understand each other, and find solutions. The bottom line here is that every feeling that goes unshared is potentially a missed opportunity to grow closer to your partner. Okay, so those were 7 of my top relationship life lessons and best advice for relationships, and I'm pretty sure I've got 7 more, so let me know in the comments if you'd like more of these.